Ladies and gentlemen, my next guest is Seybrielle. She's super cool. She is a practitioner. She's a healer. She works with different spirits. I'm guessing she works with crystals because she's wearing earrings. How's it going?
Good, pretty good, yeah.
Good. All right. So tell me, the mystical.
Hmm.
I ask a lot of people these questions. What are your thoughts on it?
Hmm. The mystical. Hmm. For me, how I would define that is what we can feel but we can't see, and our relationship to that. I feel like it's known by 1,000 names, but yet it's unnameable. And there's so many different aspects to life that feel mystical, and it's that inner sense of like there's something here. There's something bigger than what I can physically see, but I can feel it and it's moving me and it's moving all of this. So, I mean, that's what I would define as mystical.
It's called the Force. You never heard of Star Wars?
Yeah.
Well, it is technically.
Mhm.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I don't know if they're metachlorians, whatever they call them, but
Mhm.
I see it as the Force. Some people see it as Source.
Mhm.
Some people see it as the white light. Some people see it as God.
Mhm.
Some people see it as their ancestors. It's different ways of seeing it
Mhm.
or trying to feel it
Mhm.
because I don't think you can really see it with your naked eye
Mhm.
because you're in the third world. I mean, or third dimension.
Mhm.
And I hear like, you just kind of have to be present.
Mhm.
Forget about time and space.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yeah, I would say so. And it although it is formless, it can take on many forms, just like everything that we see here in the physical has a different shape to it, has a different quality to it. There's so many different uh, spirits or aspects of the mystical that also take on different dimensions, different relations. It's everything that you said, the force, our ancestors, all of these things. It's all of that. And so understanding, okay, what am I trying to connect to? What am I trying to relate to is super unique to how you're going to perceive that and receive it and relate to it. Because, for me, it's like my relationship with the mystical is so personal,
Mm-hmm.
and each aspect of the mystical is so unique and individual, just like every single one of my relationships are. So,
So for everyone, it's very different. I mean, here's the thing though. I've heard numerous people tell me the same experience
mhm.
that they don't know who they are. Um, so then I started connecting the dots, and I'm like, there's something here. Like when different people tell me they have similar experiences,
Mhm.
it starts tripping me out. Like I've been to meditation retreats. I don't know if this has to do with mystical, but it's probably more of the placebo effect.
Mhm.
People that have stage 4 cancer were able to just heal themselves by just surrendering
Mhm.
or just meditating for hours and hours. And like within weeks, they're able to get rid of their stage 4 cancer.
Mhm.
So I'm like, I'm shocked.
Mhm.
So when I hear this, I'm like, hey, dude, there's something there.
Mhm.
So I started digging deeper. And like I started talking to people like you, scientists, different people, just to see what's going on.
Mhm.
What are your thoughts on that?
I feel like there are different realms of healing, different worlds within this world. There's the physical, there's the mental, emotional, spiritual, ethereal, and the way we experience healing is actually to go into these other realms, being able to solve things at a consciousness that is much higher, giving a vaster perspective for a solution that cannot be solved here. One of my favorite quotes from Einstein is like the
Uh huh.
problems that are created in a certain consciousness can't be solved in that same level of
Yeah.
consciousness. I don't have the exact quote,
So
but the
I think the exact quote is, "You cannot solve a problem from the same consciousness as it originated from."
mhm.
And I love that quote, by the way.
Yeah, and so it's like that. It's like everything that manifests within this physical reality was created in a reality that came before it. It's transformed into what we can see and touch and taste and smell. And so I feel like when you can go into these altered states of consciousness, you're able to travel into different dimensions, different layers, different levels of being. And there are spirits there also. There are helpers. There are things within these different dimensions and within these different worlds that can support us in healings. There's doctors in different dimensions, like my
Uh,
work with, the plants. There are plant doctors, spirits of these plants that come in and that can come and like surgically heal somebody. And it's miraculous. And it's something that's beyond what we can see in this reality. But I feel like when you talk about, what the power of meditation and the power of, our own metaphysical travel, it's it's something that can only be experienced by the one like having the experience. And I think it's not something that can be necessarily taught in the way that we know how to learn, as far as Westerners of going to school and studying in that way. But you can approach your own internal journey by learning and sitting with yourself and going into these places and, asking the questions just like you are today,
yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'm asking a lot of questions. But here's the thing, I get answers, and then I'm left with more questions.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but that's always good because I have like a childhood curiosity,
Mm-hmm.
and I just want to learn.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like I also want to help people understand that they have the power of God within them.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can heal yourself. If
Mm-hmm.
you're depressed, you're sad, you're sick, there's a way to reverse that. What did you say? Co-correct it, or when you're sick, like the placebo effect. We're talking about this off air. You said something about autocorrect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what your exact words were.
Mm-hmm.
You can autocorrect yourself, which is very true.
Yeah.
You can't do it consciously, but you
Mm-hmm.
can do it subconsciously.
Yeah. Well, there's also this thing, like neural feedback, So the brain also wants to enter into a state of homeostasis, but there's so much part of us that is in a place of chaos, in a place of trauma. And when we talk about even like alpha, beta, theta waves and where we're operating from, so you have like also like neurofeedback that
Yeah,
works, and it works when you enter into meditative states because you're witnessing yourself in chaos. And it takes you witnessing yourself in chaos to understand, oh, I want to come back to peace. I want to come back to presence. And so when the body is able to witness and observe itself, it wants to correct. It wants to come back to peace. I believe that, I have a saying that, like, I want to rest in peace while I'm alive, not when I'm dead. Like everything truly, like when you die, RIP. I want RIP right here all the time.
rest
Rest
in
in peace.
peace.
I want to rest in peace when I'm in a place of chaos and I'm fighting. It's usually because I'm afraid of something. There's a part of me that's like in stress, a fight or flight, and I need to come back to peace. I need to come back to presence. And so, yeah, that way of auto correcting, the brain automatically does it, but you have to be able to witness yourself from different layers of your consciousness. And there's so many different ways we can do that, like with breath work, meditation,
Yeah, ice baths.
psychedelics, all sorts of different things.
Yeah,
Like, it's like, okay, we're such multifaceted beings, like to sense yourself, to feel yourself in this body while we have it, because it's just a gift, and it's going to leave here soon too.
yeah, it is. And Oprah said it best. I was listening to a speech by her. She said, "We're spiritual beings having a human experience,"
Mm-hmm.
which is, I think, really beautiful. And she
Mm-hmm.
died from someone else, but I forgot. But I'm going to quote Oprah just in
Yeah.
case this episode blows up.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's super interesting. I feel like with meditation, all roads kind of lead to meditation. That can really help you, like your body and your mind. And the more and more I meditate, like the more like I'm at peace.
Mm-hmm.
Like things that would piss me off, like road rage, someone
Mm-hmm.
turning me off, that doesn't bother me.
Mm-hmm.
Or someone like cusses at my mom or tries to piss me off, those things don't really bother me anymore. Because
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I have the power. I'm not gonna give someone else the power over me.
Mm-hmm.
Because their job is to not just like take my light in a sense or take my energy by pissing me off and having a reaction.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm not reacting to them, I'm not really giving anyone any power.
Mm-hmm.
And I've learned that through meditation and just breath work and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Would you agree
With what? With.
with the fact that meditation helps people
Mm-hmm.
control their or just go into homeostasis more and more?
Yeah, I feel like the aspect of building a relationship with yourself, meditation doesn't always have to look like sitting in stillness, watching your breath. Meditation is an act of mindfulness, of being able to observe oneself and to relate to oneself You know, I feel like when you carve out that time, whether you have an hour a day, 5 minutes a day, where you're consciously just focusing on your breath or focusing on something, those are all tools and practices for you to better understand how you are in your life and like who you are and how you respond to things so that you can be aware of it when you are running on autopilot. Because man, we're not present 24 hours a day. Like it's just not a thing, you know? Like we have glimpses of enlightenment, glimpses of presence, glimpses of connections. And that's when it's like, that's a synchronicity. It's because you were there, you were present, you felt that you were open, you were receptive. So the more and more you take time to cultivate these spaces of meditation, ceremony, ritual, practices that bring you into a state of observing self, being able to witness and experience what's happening. It allows you to have a deeper relationship with yourself and a deeper relationship with life all around you. Because for me, you know, I say that you are the medicine and that life is your ceremony. And the things that happen and take place in ceremony or take place in meditation are simply, you know, pictures, like a little container for you to observe yourself, because how you show up there is how you show up in life. You know, everything is giving you that opportunity to wake up, to realize, to have a deeper connection to self and have better self-compassion, you know, have better self-love so that you can show up better for other people.
100% I agree.
Mm-hmm.
We I know there's a lot of people that like, oh, I want to help other people. Like, you should help yourself first.
Mm-hmm.
First, learn to love yourself, and then you can love other people. Because
Mm-hmm.
how can you love other people if you can't really love yourself?
Yeah, I think it's both way swinging door, you know, because I too have, you know, shut myself off and just got addicted to this self discovery, self love, this. But there's so much that also can happen when you challenge yourself. You know, you think you're enlightened and think you're good, and then you go spend time a week with your family and see where all your triggers lie, and you're just like, oh
Oh, that's for
shoot.
sure. Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah,
and,
yeah, yeah.
and
They could press your buttons.
and so it's about having that balance of being able to step into the arena of places that trigger you, the places that make you uncomfortable, so that you can see where like the growth also still needs to grow, and like where more of your attention is needed. Like, oh man, here's where I'm still experiencing judgment. Here's where I'm still experiencing, you know, sadness, anger, frustration, and just being okay with that. I think that's the biggest thing. Is we sometimes feel like, man, I'm angry, I'm judgmental, like I still have these things a part of me, and I either try to spiritually bypass them and say no, those don't exist, or like I beat myself up for having them in the first place. And it's really important, that second part of like, we are human beings having spiritual experiences. Like, don't forget that you're human and flawed. You know, like we are going to have reactions, responses to life that are a part of it. But can you love yourself through that? Can you have compassion for yourself for your, you know, seeming faults or imperfections and see them as perfect, you know, because you're not going to get rid of it. You're not going to get rid of your ego in this lifetime. You know, it's just like it's there. So can you just see it, love it, and like say thank you, thank you for teaching me, because often our biggest demons and the things that we face are our greatest teachers, you know. The people who have harmed us and hurt us the most, you know, are like, oh, they set us on the path to where we are today, you know.
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah,
agree. I mean, it could be a blessing in disguise.
for sure.
Yeah, I mean, if someone harms you, like, later on in life that it's been a lesson learned, and then
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say you have your guard up, but you're wiser because
Mm-hmm.
of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's one thing. Have you ever seen anything like mystical happen for other people? Like total, like they've changed after one ceremony.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
look at that smile.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
can you give me an example, like without any names?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Phew. I mean, that's one thing that I really mm, love about the work that I get to do, and an honor and privilege it is to be a part of individuals' transformation process, is seeing them go through that, is somebody coming in completely broken, distorted, fragmented, and just seeking an answer, seeking clarity, seeking healing. Um, and by the grace of, you know, these beautiful plant teachers that we have the honor and privilege to partake in, uh, the the way that, you know, certain plant medicines work is you know, a great mystery even to me. I don't know how all of these things come together to create healing for somebody, but they do. And so, even just this last weekend, I just had a honor and privilege of supporting a ceremony, and this woman came in, and her experience was, she had died 1,000 times, in this ceremony, and
Oh,
just
during the ceremony.
you
Okay.
know, died, and just like a lot of purging, a lot of cleansing, a lot of clearing. But through the whole process, her experience was she was feeling supported and held. Like she could trust herself to go into the dark and die and be reborn time and time and time again, and be able to witness every part of her cell return to source consciousness, return to, a space of like peace and presence. And my experience as a space holder in that space was just like I felt the presence of all of her ancestors come in, and they were all there helping. So it was like she was clearing ancestral DNA, and her, not only her death she was experiencing, but she was experiencing the death of all of her ancestry. And like there's certain things that needed to be laid to rest because she was the carrier of it. And
Yeah, yeah. Past trauma,
mm-hmm,
past lifetime trauma.
for sure.
Yeah, that's a real thing. Like you carry in your genes.
Mm-hmm,
That's scientifically proven, ladies and
mm-hmm.
gentlemen.
Yeah.
It's scientifically proven. Like even
Yeah.
if people smoke, your
Mm-hmm,
grandfather,
mm-hmm,
you carry it in your genes. Not
mm-hmm,
your father carries it too,
mm-hmm.
and so do you. Like it's in your genes.
For sure, epigenetics is a real thing,
Yeah,
and that's
epigenetics
why
is definitely a real thing.
like the aspects of being able to receive these entheogenic plants helps to heal and clear what happens epigenetically. You can see the transformation that takes place. And so after this weekend, just seeing the light come on in this woman's eyes, and just this place of like where she, was just on the point of wanting to end her own life, just months prior to being in a place of feeling reborn and feeling like she had something to live for, and it wasn't something outside of herself, it was her.
So
It was like
so it's safe to say you left her off in a way better place than where you found her.
yeah,
Yeah, or
I,
she found you technically.
exactly, and yeah, that's one of the things that, is a practice of always leaving something better than you found it. And I feel
Yeah, I
like
mean,
if we all, did that, in this
you mean
world.
like planet Earth?
Yeah.
Like yeah, we're doing the opposite to it.
Yeah. And I think too, having compassion for ourselves too as a humanity, because we are just waking up and learning, like our remembering our interconnectedness to her. We've lived in a time of divide and conquer, and
Or fight or flight.
yeah.
I would say that. Like
Mhm.
that's probably the hardest thing.
Mhm.
That for the past like thousands of years, we've been in a state of fight or flight,
Mhm.
and that's why we're not present
Mhm.
because we're too busy thinking about hey, if someone could break in, hurt
Mhm.
us,
Mhm.
we are starving, this, that, but we're technically, especially in America, we're blessed because we're in a place of abundance.
Mhm.
Dude, we're really gonna walk across the street and buy food.
Mhm.
I don't need to hunt for fish. I don't need to be worried about a tiger. I
Mhm.
don't need to worry about filling my belly for the next 3 4 days because I might not eat. That doesn't exist anymore,
Mhm.
at least in this country.
For sure. And I think that's why we're at this place of shifting the narrative on mental health, and the health of our emotional, mental, and spiritual well being, because our ancestors didn't necessarily have that. They actually were, like, I mean, I come from a long line of single moms, having to work so many jobs just to put food on the table, to do all these things. And,
Shout out to your mom, by the way.
yeah, shout out. She's going to love watching this,
Good.
and it's just like, that aspect of like, oh man, there was survival mode, and I think it's time, as a humanity, that we realize like we've mastered survival, and now it's time to thrive.
Yeah,
And
it is.
in thriving, it's not about self, it's about service to others. To thrive is really to give back to others,
Now you
because you're in
sound
a
like Oprah.
place like you're in a place that you have so much that you can give. We could literally give it all away and still have enough
Yeah.
for ourselves and everybody else. And I think it's just going to take us, like cellularly, and our nervous system to recognize and to feel that. And I do think that, the practices of meditation particularly I practice Kundalini meditation, and that's like meditation for our nervous system, is to
Mm-hmm.
like really expand our nervous system to get out of this fight or flight. Because unfortunately, like too, with the rapid speed of all this technology, it's like it's really kind of frying our nervous system. So we have to make sure that the light bulb can hold the capacity for the electricity that's running through it. So yeah.
Well put. Why do you think science hasn't really caught up to this? Like
Mm,
scientists would say, "Hey, meditate more," or scientists would say, "Hey, be at peace with yourself more, be centered."
I feel like science does have the information. It's just not, as far as research goes, research is funded by things that can also generate an income source. We are kind of regulated by pharmaceutical companies and industries that can't profit off of meditation. They can't profit off of plant medicines. They can't profit off of people healing. They profit off of people staying sick, and they
Yeah.
profit off of, keeping people in this system. And so we're not necessarily going to change that. It's about
Actually,
creating a new system, with marriage of the scientific aspect and the spiritual aspect. Because, even me going down to the jungles and, studying with indigenous shamans and individuals like that, like there are people there who are sick and they
yeah.
need, Western medicine to also heal them. It's like there's a unification that needs to come through, because there's, like it's not just this or that, it's this and that. And how can we like come together as,
This and that. I like it. I like
mm-hmm,
it. Actually, officially today, my friend that's a neurobiologist at the University of Utah, he sent me an article saying Congress has passed a law saying that it's not only scholars that could get money for research,
mm,
it's also private companies or small enterprises.
mm-hmm,
They could get money for research into like consciousness and
mm.
more holistic things. Maybe you should put that mic down low. There
Okay,
you
there
go.
you go.
Yeah.
Thanks. Awesome.
So officially today, the doors have been opened up a little more
Mm-hmm,
for that aspect. And another thing I'm coming across is the reason people don't do too much research into like meditation, consciousness is because there's like 8 billion of us.
mm-hmm.
Everyone thinks differently, acts differently, they have different emotions, they grew up differently, and you cannot measure that in the scientific experiments.
Yeah.
But that shouldn't stop it. Forget the scientific and find out something new,
Yeah.
you know?
And that's the thing. It's like, okay, even if you have this like proof of this is how things are and this is how things work, it is a subjective experience. So like you have to be the researcher for your own life.
Yeah.
It's an individual game. It's an inside game, and
Like the placebo effect?
yeah, I guess,
Yeah.
it's like um it's definitely something that each individual has to choose, and it's not about any of one of us who are like, here, look at what I've proven, and now this is how it's going to be throughout time and all eternity. I mean, there's the Bible and Jesus Christ and Buddha, and like things aren't even a fraction of what they've preached. They're just teachings. You can choose. Each of us has that choice to follow a particular teaching and a particular lesson based off of, somebody's experience. And until you have it yourself, you're not going to believe it. So it's super important, I feel like, for us as individuals to be our own gurus, be our own teachers, be your own maestro shaman. Like, yeah, like you're it. You're
Yeah.
everything,
One thing that both of them have taught is love yourself and love your neighbors,
Mm-hmm.
which I love, which is, they got that right. Both
Mm-hmm.
of them, I agree. Like,
Mm-hmm.
they got that right for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Um, well, there is some advancement in like ayahuasca or San Pedro. What's the other one? Where they do it in the Indians do it.
Mm-hmm.
What is that one? Peyote.
Peyote.
Yeah, so there's research in that, and even LSD. Like
Mm-hmm.
now they're doing more research in laboratories, and they're like that actually does cure depression
Mm-hmm.
and sadness and PTSD
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes even schizophrenia.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know how,
Mm-hmm.
because somehow like when you do the medicine in a controlled environment, not like crazy amount, it kind of rewrites the brain, rewires it.
Mm-hmm.
So it does help a lot of people.
Yeah, and it's individuals' experience too, because you have to talk to those people who went through that, understanding what it is that they saw, what it is that they went through. A lot of times in healing, the medicine allows us to go back into those places where we first experienced the trauma, first experienced the pain, and it allows us to experience it from a different vantage point, a different perspective, and have the support of the medicine and the spirits and everything that's involved in a ceremony to take place to really heal that. But it's like you're here and now, but you travel in time. It's the butterfly effect. You know, you go back in time and you shift that, and then you create a completely different reality.
That's crazy. I haven't heard it that way. It does make sense, and a lot of times people don't even know they have that trauma
Mm-hmm.
because it could be from ancestors, way back when,
Mm-hmm.
or it could be from when you're a little kid. You didn't even know that happened, or
Mm-hmm.
you could just block it. It was so traumatic you blocked it
Mm-hmm.
from your thought process.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, I feel like anybody who comes to the medicine or comes to a place of wanting change in their life, it's because something is currently not working. It's the relationship you have with yourself, the relationship that you have with other people in your life. You know, the very first time I experienced the medicine, it was really all about family healing. And it wasn't just like family of mother, father, brother, sister. You know, it was like healing my relationship with father, mother, brother, sister,
And yourself.
and all of that interwoven within me. What is my relationship to all of that? And so it's like if you don't feel connected to yourself, if you don't feel connected to the life all around you, the sunsets, the trees growing, the insects crawling, if you don't feel connected to like a higher power, like we're gonna constantly be swimming and searching for something outside of ourselves. But those three things are really the only thing that, in my opinion, can provide fulfillment for what it is we're really hungry
Say
and
it one more
thirsty
time,
for.
just in case people missed it. What are the three things?
So the three things that I feel like are super important, and really feeling connected to this life is a connection first and foremost to our internal self. You know, if you place your hand on your heart right now and take a deep breath in, connecting to that heart center, to the place that you have always been, and to the place that you will always be. This is the part of you that is here to journey with you through your entire life. Having a relationship with this part of yourself is primary. And then as you open your eyes and you take a look at the world around you and you put your feet in some dirt, and you even know, even if you're not outside and you just look at the table, just like having a relationship with this physical reality, realizing that everything is here to teach you something. All the pictures on the wall, these fairies, mystical beings, and people ice skating, or just the person across from you. Having a relationship with the earth and all of life, the sunsets, the sunrises, the way that the wind feels on your face, like feel that. And if you don't feel that, then man, you're starving. You're really hungry for life because you're not letting it in. And then a relationship to a higher power, whatever that may be, God, Goddess, universe, your highest I am self, your future self, whatever it may be, having a relationship with some higher power is critical, something that you can commune with and ask for what it is you want and need and say thank you. Thank you for everything that you do have. Those are the three pillars for, I feel like really a happy life, a whole life, a complete life. And then everything else, like becomes nourishment. All of our relations become nourishment. And because like you're the medicine, like
Nice.
you're it.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I like it. It's very simple.
Yeah.
That's why, like, you don't want to complicate things,
No.
especially when it comes to internal functioning.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think you're talking about the heart? Because I read a lot. There's a brain and heart coherence.
Mm-hmm.
You have to connect that to
Mm-hmm.
something magical happens within you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel? I hear a lot of times that your heart is your second brain. Would
Mm.
you agree with that?
Uh, yes. I would say the heart is the first brain.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah,
thought you
and
would say.
then
My friend, that's a shaman, said the same thing.
yeah,
And he's from Peru.
yeah.
He
I'd say the heart is the first brain,
he
and then
said
the
the same
stomach
thing.
is the second, and then the mind is the third. I feel like there's uh, as far as consciousness goes, like your heart's gonna keep beating even when your brain is dead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And he said what he said was, your heart is what pumps blood into your brain. So who's in charge? I was like, damn, bro, you going
Mm-hmm.
next level on me.
Yeah. Yeah, and then just like everything that we ingest to an energetic center of our core and our stomach. This is where the seat of our power
The
lies.
third
Like
chakra.
yeah, and our diaphragm. It's like where like if you don't have willpower, mm, it's just gonna be this subconscious running the show.
I didn't know you're supposed to breathe in from your diaphragm.
Mm-hmm.
We're so used to breathing in from our lungs, but we're not supposed
Mm-hmm.
to. So when I took breathing classes, they're like, no, you're supposed to breathe in from your diaphragm,
Mhm.
and it comes up to your lungs. And I
Mhm.
was like, huh, that's interesting.
Yeah, we're very, very disconnected too from our core. You know, that's a big thing that I teach even in my work with physical therapy is trying to get, elderly people and anybody reconnected to their core. And to be honest, like I'm coming online to all these things myself. Like if these weren't things that as a young woman that I didn't also experience a complete disconnection from this part of my body, then I wouldn't be teaching it to other people, like we don't have awareness over this part of our body and knowing that we need to like hold it strong because like we don't sit. We sit in chairs, we sit in office chairs, we don't sit on the ground, we don't sit on the floor. So like the more I started sitting in ceremony, it was like it forced me to have to like have a strong core, have a strong back. Um, there's something ancient about sitting on the ground.
And being barefoot for some reason.
Yeah.
Being barefoot's like really important. There's
Yes.
even studies done where if you're barefoot and you go outside and put your feet on the grass,
Mhm.
your heartbeat will get lower and lower.
Mhm.
So what that means, literally, the correlation, or it's definitely a correlation there, that there's less stress.
Mhm.
You're calming down more
Yep.
just by taking your shoes off and your socks, of course, and just
Mhm.
going and putting your feet on the grass.
Yeah, it's
That's
true.
it. That's all you really need to do.
Yeah.
There's no magic there. I mean, actually, there's magic in itself, but
Mhm.
it's very simple.
Well, the Earth has an electromagnetic pull to it as well, and it
It
helps
does.
to neutralize all of the charges that are received from every electromagnetic current that's like flowing through us all the time. So when you can put your feet on the ground, it helps. It's funny that
Yeah.
you say that. I'm just like imagining too, because as a kid, like I hated having dirt on my feet. I was like really weird about having dirt on my feet, and I look back at my life and think about like all of the things that I used to be afraid of or not good at, or like these things that used to bother me, and they're actually like my greatest medicine in my life now. I didn't sing or dance or get dirty or like I hated all of those things, and now all of those things are medicine for me,
You were a princess, huh? When you were a
No,
kid?
I was
No?
not. I was a tomboy. Like I liked to like. I was very much a tomboy. Like
Okay.
liked to play sports, but I was very much like I didn't like to get dirty. I had to wash my hands, and I didn't like to.
A neat freak in a
Yeah,
sense?
no,
Not
I
a
don't
neat
know what
freak
it
either?
was. It was just like this grittiness that bothered me. I think, in all honesty, I was just like very sensitive. Like tags in the back of my neck would bother me. Things that would touch my skin. I was just like super, super sensitive. And I'm only like remembering these things over these last couple of years of like, I had to like shut off how sensitive I was because it was just like so much. And now, as an adult, like reopening those parts of my being and understanding that like life is a very sensual experience, very sensual experience. And when you start to come online to that, like it can kind of take people like, woo, I don't know how I feel about all this because we're meant like we've been told that sensuality is connected to sexuality, which we have to shut that part of ourselves down. But life is meant to be fully ecstatic and orgasmic. Like it really does feel like
Yeah.
that when we open ourselves up to it.
Or have a Kundalini awakening.
Yeah.
That'll give you a 45-minute orgasm.
Yeah, something
Yeah.
like that. It's
Yeah.
it's intense, you know.
That's when you actually breathe and open up your chakras, and you could just get all the energy up into your pineal gland, and then
Hmm.
you just have a. I mean, it's actually pure love.
Hmm.
So, but it feels like a 45-minute orgasm.
Yeah.
I've seen people pop right next to me. They just start yelling uncontrollably, and they
Hmm.
fall to the floor, and
Hmm.
it's like they're having a seizure,
Mm.
but they're having too much fun to have a seizure.
Yeah.
So I just leave them alone.
Yeah.
And there's scientific evidence to prove this, ladies and gentlemen, because they put fMRIs on people.
Mm.
Joe Dispenza,
Hmm.
he's done over 8,500 different studies, and he's seen people pop like
Hmm.
while they have the fMRI feedback machine on,
Hmm.
and like their brain just lights up,
Hmm.
like to a point where the machine can't even read what's going on anymore,
Hmm.
because the brain goes from theta, which is when you're in your subconscious state, to full on gamma.
Hmm.
That means like every part of your brain lights up, and you're just gone. You have the mystical experience.
Hmm.
That's just what's happening,
Hmm.
and that's how people are able to heal themselves.
Hmm.
Because like you were telling me that people go to different places, and there's like spirits that work on you
Hmm.
and do certain things, and I've heard different people tell me this. So
Hmm.
I'm not really surprised anymore when I hear
Yeah.
this. The first time I did, I was like, maybe you should stop taking
Hmm.
it. Maybe you should get back on your medicine. But
Hmm.
because it feels very foreign,
Hmm.
because we haven't grown up with this stuff.
Yeah, the ecstatic experience is very foreign to a lot of people, and it can be scary too because like yeah, you're very open, and it's you one of my favorite things. Sometimes you to find your heart, you have to lose your mind. So like
I haven't heard that one before, but that sounds cool.
yeah, you just
Yeah,
like
because your mind is there to protect you.
it is, and when you have these mystical experiences or ecstatic experiences, you understand why, you know, like you understand too, like this is what my mind has been trying to protect me from, you know, because the mind essentially dissolves and it too wants to stay alive because it can't exist in the same place, you know, like your mind cannot exist.
Your mind or your ego? Because I feel like, yeah,
I guess it, yeah, it depends on how you define it. But yeah,
you can't
like
think logically.
the level of consciousness, you know,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
your
yeah.
linear,
You have to be on a
logical.
different level of consciousness. You have to
Mm-hmm.
vibrate at a higher
Yeah.
frequency.
And it's super important too, you know, it's just like for me, these mystical experiences and ecstatic experiences also need to be integrated well, you know,
They
like
have to. Yeah,
because if not, you know, you can have a very ungrounded, unproductive experience afterwards that can cause more harm than good, you know. So like for me, it's really, really important. Like, okay, we're taking this experience and now feeding it with the support that it needs to actually translate into making my life better, because oftentimes too you can get high on your own supply with meditation and breath work and just kind of be addicted to like, all right, or even medicine ceremonies, you know, people who come back over and over and over and over again, and it's like, uh, what are you doing this for, you know, like
exactly,
how is it
exactly.
translating into your life, you know, how are you, you know, integrating these experiences, how are your relationships changing, how is your relationship with yourself changing, and to feel supported in that community is a really big part of that, you
I'm
know.
glad you said getting integrated because I've met plenty of people that have done the Kundalini breath for the first
Mm-hmm.
time. They had a fucking full blown experience, but after that, their personality shifts.
Mm-hmm.
It's called the the dark night of the soul,
Mm-hmm.
where they completely change. Whoa.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my throat's kind of like clogging up. Sorry,
Yeah.
but anyways, they have like a dark night of the soul, so their personality completely shifts, and they feel special.
Mm-hmm.
I had this mystical experience. It's about me, blah, 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 blah. When anyone can actually have it. There's absolutely nothing special about these people,
Mm-hmm.
except the fact that they reach something.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I feel like that develops an unhealthy ego.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I've seen it a lot in a lot of practitioners where they're able to help some people and they're like, oh, now I could heal people, so there's something special about me.
Mm-hmm.
But instead of actually helping people, they kind of develop an unhealthy ego.
Yeah.
Have you seen this in people?
Yeah, for sure. Nobody can heal anybody, you know.
I mean, what about Corinthians? Like, with your hand? Technically, you can heal someone
No.
at all.
Nobody has the power to heal anybody, you know.
I
Like,
don't know. I disagree.
yeah, there's like you have an invitation, but I the most powerful healers in the world, you know, they can't heal anybody. They can open up doors, but it's up for that individual to receive their own healing. They have to receive it. They have to be open to letting parts of themselves die. They have to be open to releasing and surrendering. You know, nobody can come in and, you know, even with the placebo effect, it's like you have to believe that you can heal.
Yeah,
Like nobody can make you. You have to believe it. So it's like, you know, that aspect of being a healer is an ego generated thing in and of itself. You can support people in that and you have a monumental role to play, but you're not the one doing the healing. You know, you got to give credit where credit's due, and it's not me, the healer. There's something so much greater that flows through us, and it will, you know, humble people to the floor of like, you think that you're the one doing this and it's not, you know. And if you try to take credit for it, you know, some people get away with it and it's fine, like that's their life, that's their story, but it's a slippery slope, and if you get caught in it, it's
but they start believing it after a while.
yeah, for sure.
They literally start believing it
Yeah,
after a while.
even like the whole John of God thing, and then you just hear like people manipulating power, you know,
What do you
like
mean, John of God?
John of God, you never heard of him, where like he's this guy in the cave who just like heals people from, he lives like the living Jesus essentially.
Right now, is
He will. I mean, he's gotten in trouble for a lot of things now because of
that the guy
inappropriate.
that did the sweat lodge?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay, that's
Yeah,
someone else.
yeah, no, and that's the thing too. Is like again remembering we're human,
Yeah,
human flaws, and there's certain things that if you don't pay attention to, like our own sexual energy, our own personal desires, our own, you know, greed, like you start to build up a lot of power. And if you don't have good discipline, this power will also leak into different energies of taking advantage of certain things. And so it's like being careful, like not giving your power away to somebody outside of yourself. If somebody tells you that they can heal you, run away, like.
So, okay. Versus someone telling you, let me help you heal yourself,
Mhm.
or help you learn how to heal yourself.
Mhm.
Versus like giving a person a fish versus teaching them how to fish.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a very oversimplification, but actually that's pretty much correct.
Mhm. Yeah, it's like,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I heard the best, you could say healers or teachers in the world are the ones that are like, here, let me teach you this, so I
Mhm.
never have to deal with you again. The
Mhm.
point is for you not to keep coming back,
Yeah.
for you to have the proper tools and knowledge, for you to be able to do this on your own, whether you
Mhm.
want to heal yourself or whatever, learn how to walk on fire
Yeah.
and things like that.
It's at a certain level too, because even if you like go and receive surgery, like you that surgeon can, perform a procedure on you, but why did you have that injury in the first place is something that you need to heal, because it's often correlated to something more than just what happened physically.
Yeah,
It's like, where was I mentally and emotionally to create this issue in the first
you
place?
talking
I
about?
really love like metaphysics.
Yeah,
When I talk about metaphysical healing, the body keeps the score. It's just like, wow,
that's a book. Yeah,
it's a great one, and understanding, like, so for me, that's kind of how I started my journey. It's like, man, okay, my throat's hurting. Even like, oh, I'm coughing, like I'm experiencing truth. When I sneeze, it's like, okay, release control. But different parts of my body, when they start to ache or certain things, and there's people you can go to, massage therapists, and they can help release that physically. But it's super important to also bridge that gap of understanding where it came from, or else that pain will just continue to return. So I'm
psycho.
super grateful for like the healers that are out there. We're co-facilitating. It's a relationship, so that works that way.
Cool. Still psychosomatic,
Mhm.
psychological factors that cause physical problems.
Mhm.
That's a real thing.
Mhm.
But here's the thing: you could also reverse engineer it.
Mhm.
It's called a placebo effect, actually,
Mhm.
where you could use your mind to just heal your body,
Mhm.
and it could go as far as stage 4 cancer or
Mhm.
some genetic disorder. Hell, I've even heard you could change your genetics,
Mhm.
epigenetics.
Mhm.
Bruce Lipton talks about this.
Mhm.
Yeah, and Red Braden,
Mhm.
where you can actually meditate, and there's a certain gene, you just shut it off.
Mhm.
Like there's a certain gene that causes shingles in you. You
Mhm.
literally just shut that off.
Mhm.
I mean, it takes a lot of practice and meditation, but it's possible.
Mhm.
So that's the point. I mean, all these things you're talking about, it's not as easy as popping a pill.
Yeah.
You actually have to work at it day
Mhm.
in, day out.
Mhm.
But there's no end result. But the result, the compound result, is you're just going to become a better human being, healthier, happier,
Mhm.
probably more abundance in you.
Mhm.
Right?
Mhm.
Nice. I think that's a great way to kind of end this.
For
One
sure.
last question.
Okay.
I always like to ask these people this question. What do you think humanity or just people can do in general just to help themselves? Let's just say someone is down or they're sad, they just got fired,
Mhm.
they're depressed, they just got to have surgery,
Mhm.
um, and they just need help. Like, what would be like one piece of advice you would be able to give these people?
Hmm. Hmm.
Doesn't have to be super complicated or end world hunger, but just like some people say just breathe.
Mhm.
Some people say just love yourself.
Mhm.
I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, for me, what's coming up is really to reach out to somebody that you love and care about. And, whether it's having a conversation over the phone or meeting up and having a meal or having some coffee together, get yourself in front of somebody who you really care about and just talk,
Nice.
just connect, connect to another human being. Tell them how much you love and care about them. Express to them what they mean to you. And, if you would feel inspired to share what you're going through, do that. But oftentimes, like, all we need is to just, like, have love in our lives, and share that, love with others. I feel like it's the most healing things, give somebody that you love and care
Yeah.
about a hug and be super genuine in it.
So is the message: reach out for help.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be afraid to reach out for help.
Yeah.
And ladies and gentlemen, there's absolutely no shame in that at
Mm-hmm.
all.
Yeah.
Like I still reach out for help.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I asked you for help.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Even just it's just like that connection, though, that bond, that human connection of knowing that we're not alone and that we have a lot of love inside of us to give, and in that giving of love to somebody who we care about, we open ourselves to receive it as well and to feel it and to be uplifted by it and from it. It doesn't even necessarily mean to like call out for help, but just like to to give love and
To
be open
give
to
love.
receive. Hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Right on. Thank you
Awesome.
very much for
Yeah, for
jumping
sure.
on.
Yeah.
I'll post your information so people can reach out to you
Cool.
just in case they need some additional love,
Yeah.
or just need some help or some facilitation.
Hmm.
Ladies and gentlemen, since you like this episode, go ahead and subscribe, and we'll definitely catch you next time.